Good morning, SHOT Show. I'm Mark Oliva with the National Shooting Sports Foundation. With me today, I've got Ryan Muller, competitive shooter.
Yes, sir.
And a seriously all-around best friend to the National Shooting Sports Foundation in the industry.
Love the organization.
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
you've been a tremendous help. But today we wanted to kind of talk about the modern sporting rifle, the AR-15, the AK-47 kind of platform. But first, Ryan, tell us about your introduction to the modern sporting rifle.
My introduction to the modern sporting rifle started before I became any of the things you just mentioned outside of just a hunter. I bought my first AR for the purpose of prairie dog hunting. I was going to do some predator hunting, coyotes, and I bought a gun that was kind of tailored to that specific thing. Now, over the years, that's obviously morphed, and the AR-15, the modern sporting rifle, has become more popular, and I've got lots more of them now, luckily. But that was my first introduction. It revolved all the way around hunting.
So we've obviously seen the growth of the modern sporting rifle. We know the 17.7 million of these in circulation today, obviously a commonly owned firearm. But we're trying to introduce people to the shooting sports or to hunting.
Okay.
And this is something I know I've watched you personally try and do. I mean, you're very passionate about doing this. What is it about this rifle that makes this a good rifle to introduce someone to the shooting sports?
Well, I would say that what makes this rifle good for the shooting sports and new shooters is the same thing that makes it good for all other things, hunting or precision. It's a very modular platform, meaning that I can change it into whatever configuration I need, whatever I want to do. We actually, my wife and I call it the Mr. Potato Head for adults.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a fun little thing we do there. But you've got multiple calibers. You can change the length. You can change the weight. You can add optics. You can change the grips. There's just a lot of things you can do, starting with a gun that is accurate and doesn't recoil very much.
So when we're talking about trying to introduce that new shooter and trying to take some of that, that accuracy into the picture while also taking some of the scariness of the firearm out of it, for those who aren't familiar with it, what is it about this that you try to explain to them up front before you hand this rifle and put it into their hands and get them behind the optic of it? What is it you're trying to tell them before they hold this gun?
Well, we have a big fight in front of us when it comes to media and the perception that the public may have on the modern sporting rifle, and I just simply tell them it's just like any other gun. It's a semi-automatic gun. It's in the same caliber as other guns. Even with the modern sporting rifles, we got the 22s, a 22 caliber long rifle. Yeah, it's the most simple, very old caliber. It's been around forever. I try to get one of those in their hands if I can, and on top of that, I'll even go as far as to add a suppressor. Yeah. It's going to help mitigate some more of the recoil. It's going to take any muzzle percussion that you have, even from the small 22 caliber round. It's going to knock down the noise, so hearing protection, obviously. So those are a few of the things I do. So
obviously, this is a firearm that you rely on throughout your competitive shooting circuit.
Yes, sir.
I mean, shooting this all the time. What makes this a great rifle for that platform? For when you're out there on the circuit trying to shoot?
From a competition aspect, I have to have ultimate reliability. Yeah. And I change some things. Whenever we get into the shooting sports and competition, especially at a higher level, it starts to turn into a little bit of NASCAR, right? I've got to tweak, and I've done things to my rifles that if it was a battle rifle, I may not do. Sure. But yeah, I will start to add components to it to change recoil impulse, accuracy even more so than just what a regular mil spec or a regular production rifle will do. We're running custom barrels, we're running titanium bolt carrier groups, match triggers. That's the kind of stuff that I do to my rifles to make them work best for me. Sure.
And then when we're talking about the hunting aspect of this and taking this rifle out to the field, what makes this a good hunting platform?
Well, my competition rifles are great hunting platforms, as long as I'm not trying to hide. We've got flashy colors and we've got shiny reflective surfaces. From an accuracy and reliability standpoint, and the caliber, as long as the caliber is good for the game that I'm after, it's great. However, if I'm changing into a hunting, I may want to switch calibers. I may want to go from the smaller frame AR-15. I may want to bump up to like an AR-10. I can get different calibers that way. And the modern sporting rifle encompasses all of those, but I may want to go to a 308, take larger game.
So let's talk about that for a second, because we've seen the popularity of this platform kind of grow over time. Sure. We've seen also that manufacturers are responding to that by offering it in those different calibers. So tell me a little bit about the growth of that and how you've seen the market and the manufacturers responding to the needs of the hunters and to the competitive shooters.
Absolutely. So demand drives innovation, right? Sure. So we've seen lots more manufacturers. We've seen technologies from other things, other aspects, aerospace, other manufacturing put into the modern sporting rifle. Coatings was one of them, but caliber specifically is something that has really expanded. There's calibers calibers that I'm sure I don't even know about yet because I just haven't had a chance to get out and shoot them. But you can go 308, you can go 6.5 Creedmoor, 6 Creed, 22 Creed. Calibers that are capable of reaching out and really doing a lot of good at long range. As long as as you feel comfortable with that, then I'm okay with hunting at those distances, even up to say 300 Win Mag. So you can take anything in North America with a modern sporting rifle.
So I know over the past year or so, you've been working with a young gentleman back home with you that you've been trying to introduce into the shooting sports and into the hunting. So tell me a little bit about that journey where you're taking him, introducing him to the shooting sports, getting him out to the field. What does this relationship and this mentorship and this growth mean to you?
I tell you what, it's actually really easy to do whenever you start with youth because they really don't have a preconceived notion of what it is they're doing.
Yeah.
They're just doing what you teach them to do. And they're going to do it the same with a Ruger 1022 as they are with a modern sporting rifle.
Yeah.
To me, it means more about passing along a heritage. It doesn't just have to do with going out and shooting.
Yeah.
Or hunting specifically, taking game. There's a lot of times we don't do that. What I'm doing is I'm letting him have fun. He enjoys doing it.
Yeah.
But on the backside of that, he's learning responsibility, consequences for his actions, things that adults need to be instilling upon their children in any way. Maybe they do taekwondo or karate, or that may be what they choose to do for their child. This is what I'm choosing to do, with the young gentleman I'm helping.
So when you're seeing that this growth of the use of the modern sporting rifle in the field to go hunting, I mean, again, through your time of hunting, growing up out there on the farm,
yes, sir.
What you're seeing now, how much more accepting is it now? As hunters, sometimes we can be a little bit generational. We want to hold on to the things that we value, and we want to say, well, this is the way I did it, this is the way my dad did it, so this is the only way it should be done. We can't get stuck in our ways.
Yeah.
But are you seeing that shift? Are you seeing people look at things a little bit differently?
I actually see a little bit of judgment,
really?
Honestly. Well, you can't, your kid, I went to school whenever I was young and said, hey, I went out and shotguns my dad all day, and I've got a shirt or, whatever on. There was no question for that.
Yeah.
So things have definitely changed that way, over the years. And the children haven't changed. It's just how we look at them, I think, has changed. And
what do we need to be doing to, introduce folks to the different platforms, not just to shooting the traditional over and under shotgun at the range, or shooting the bolt action rifle, but to make sure that they're exposed to everything? What should we be doing about the modern sporting rifle and introduction to the
education? I think education is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Once you do it, you realize that there's nothing really to it, and you start to appreciate all of the values, kind of like the things that we've just discussed, that are in that platform.
And how easy is it to do that when you have something that is like that modern sporting rifle?
If you can get it in their hands, and if you have access to that, which I think we all should, if you have access to that for educational purposes, it's very easy and it's very quick to do. And I enjoy doing it. It's something I really enjoy doing. I just like helping build better people.
So one of the things I've always noticed when I take someone to the range, they've never shot any gun before, and I put them behind that modern sporting rifle. I explain to them that it's got a really big buffer spring in there. It's got a really big buffer. It's going to take up much of that recoil. I try and walk them through what they can expect. One of the things I noticed at the end of it, although they may be a little bit of anxiety going into it, you just can't wipe that smile off their face.
No, every time. It's like shooting full auto. Yeah. I've never seen someone get behind a very expensive and very hard to get 50 cal full auto and just go, well, that wasn't. They're always just grinning ear to ear. They're having a good time. So.
And how much, as we see this kind of generational shift, we kind of see the adoption of this modern sporting rifle. How much is of it that plays into it when you start to take the mystery out of this scary looking rifle?
Sure. What I do, the best thing I do is I make them shoot it. I don't make them shoot it. They want to. They're there because they want to. Yeah. And they may have some anxiety about it. I give them one round. I say, just give me one round. And I don't worry about their stance. I don't worry about their sight picture. I don't care if they hit anything as long as it goes into a safe direction into the berm. Yeah. And once they shoot it one time and they realize, oh, that didn't really have much recoil. That was easy. Sure. It was actually a really easy gun to shoot. Yeah. Then we go on to the next level. So it's nice to see that progression.
And it's great. I mean, this is something that us as a foundation, I know you've been an active participant in it. I mean, this is the whole reason that the National Shooting Sports Foundation came up with the whole +1 program.
Absolutely.
We're gonna promise ourselves and promise our community as recreational shooters and as hunters that we're gonna grow one more of us every year. So I mean, that's something I know that you've done. I know that we've done it, and so we just encourage everybody everybody else to get out there, do the same, make that pledge, make that promise that we're going to grow, and one more of us to continue the traditions and the values that we all hold.
And not with just a modern sporting rifle.
Yeah.
I honestly don't care, me personally, whenever I'm helping trying to work on the plus one movement, if you want to shoot bow and arrow, that's something else. That's okay.
Yeah.
If you want to shoot 22 pistols, we got Steel Challenge. You can do that.
Yep.
There's multiple ways to get into that. As long as you're taking someone to the range with you, I'm happy.
Yeah, great. Well, folks, it looks like we're out of time. We appreciate you joining us. Ryan, it's been a pleasure to have you here.
Yes,
We look
sir.
forward to seeing
Always.
you out on the floor.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, folks.